Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal giving you my thoughts, analysis, and rant. And rant. We can never forget about the rant. This time it is the hyped up Nikon Z6 and Z7. Finally, Nikon has finally produced a flagship mirrorless. Yes, I'm using the word flagship mirrorless because let's not forget about the J and the K series, which were Nikon's first mirrorless cameras. So let's not forget about that. So let's get to it. What are the specs that we are looking at? Well, which one should we buy? So Nikon Z6 has a 24 megapixels. I'm sorry. Let me go back in the beginning here. So both cameras are using full frame sensor. They basically have 24. Z6 has 24 megapixels. The Z7 has 45 megapixels. And finally, they have 5-axis image stabilization in body. After Canon and Nikon have proclaimed that lens stabilization is much better, but it's pretty obvious they somehow finally came around that notion. And so electronic EVF, 3.6 million dots. Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So what else do we have here? They have a tilting screen, not a fully articulated screen. So the Z6 has 12 frames per second. The Z7 has 9 frames per second, which is quite interesting. But here's the thing. The Z7 has ISO 64, base ISO 64, and the Z6 has ISO 100, and Z6 comes from 100 to 51,000, and the Z7 is 64 to 25,000. So it's pretty obvious that the Z7 is the top of the line here. Focus points on the Z6 is 273 compared to the 493 on the Z7. They both have microphone input. 4K, they both have 4K resolution, 24, 25, 30 mega frames per second, and 1080p 120 mega frames per second. Obviously, focus peaking, touchscreen, yes, 3.2. That's the LCD size on the back. Battery life on the Z6 is 330. The Z7 has 310. Wow. And most of all, when it comes to price, the Z6 is $2,000 and the Z7 is, get this, $3,400. Wow. And just to even get technical, the distance between when you put it on the mount, which is the new Z mount, no more F mount, and obviously they're providing an F to Z mount, which you can use your F lenses. The distance between the lens and the sensor is 16 millimeters. Apparently, this is how they like it, because you could actually it could actually gather more light. Obviously, you can even make faster lenses down to f.95. So after all that specs, so here are my thoughts about it. You know what? They finally come around, okay? They finally came around. But I do think that after researching, even producing this, I think Nikon was very short-sighted. Not only that, to me, this is quite a disappointment. I'm not saying it failed. It's a disappointment to me because they could have done so much. And the worst part about this is that I'm telling you, you're not gonna get an upgrade until maybe 3 years, and you're telling me that this is what you've got, and you probably had this in development for 5 or more years, and this is the best that you could do. You didn't even include fully articulated screen. And they were in their press conference, they were touting that they could actually produce a higher, brighter lens, but the lens lineup that they launch is 24 to 70 millimeters at f4, 50 millimeter at f1.8, 35 millimeter at f1.8. Where's the f1.2? Where's the f1.4? Why not just launch a much faster lens lineup, right? So those are just my thoughts. To me, this camera is a disappointment. The lens lineup, the obviously 3 lens lineup, including the f2Z mount adapter. I'm not gonna say the adapter is a disappointment. I think that's great, but the lens lineup on the launch is a disappointment. So basically, it's all disappointment from me. So let's get to the analysis here, okay? I'm gonna repeat this again, just so you can actually hear what I'm saying here. This has probably been in development for 5 years, let's just assume, and in those 5 years there have been multiple mirrorless cameras that's been produced and launched, whether it be from the Sony, from the Olympus, from the Panasonic, from the Fujis, even from Nikon. Number one, I didn't mention this earlier because I was gonna get to this, was that it only has one card slot. So in a vacuum here, if I'm gonna pay a $3,400 camera, even at $2,000 camera, I should be expecting the best of the best. But in Nikon, as I previously stated, they were very short-sighted. I think they were not trying to go all out here. They were probably just saying, oh, let's do enough so we can make an upgrade later. As to which part, I absolutely hate it when company do this. If you are going to have a mirrorless in development, why not just do everything as much as you can, knowing the fact that the Z6 and the Z7 will not have an upgrade until a few years. Could it be 2 to 3 years? And in those 2 to 3 years, electronics will come and go, new cameras will come. And what will happen? Well, this will be on the wayside and people don't even want to bother about it. So if you're a Nikon user, Nikon fan, honestly, if I was you, I'd wait for the second generation of it. If you're into mirrorless or you're just trying to get into mirrors, don't even get this. Don't just go to the Sony. Just get it over with. And I'm gonna put this in perspective here. $2,000, $3,400. If you are going to invest in that much money in this item, don't you think you should at least get the best of the best? Sadly, this camera doesn't bring that. So let's get on with my rant here. Okay, number one, it only has one card slot. I don't want to hear anybody defend Nikon because this was in development for so many years, and you're telling me that you couldn't fit in a second card slot. I don't care if it's an XQD. If I'm paying $3,400 for a camera that doesn't have a second card slot, especially if it's a pro or even a professional model, whether it be enthusiast, I'm not buying that excuse. And I don't want to hear Nikon state in the press con that the camera could have been bigger. Are you kidding me? I look at the camera size here, and apparently this camera is smaller than the GH5. Yes, the GH5. The GH5, people. GH5. Could you believe that? And here's the odd part. The GH5 has dual memory card slot. And it's big, and I don't get it. Now you may say, oh well, you know, the battery door is small. It doesn't matter. Well, Look, if it's a professional model and they have been in this development, couldn't they just thought of that in early in the development? Number 2, the early lens lineup during launch of this camera, the 24 to 70 mm f4, 50 f1.8, and 35 f1.8. I don't understand this. If Sigma can make a 24 to 70 f1.8, why can't Nikon did it? Not only that, they're not even fully fully using the sensor at its 100% potential. If you're gonna make a sensor mount that want to bring more light, couldn't you just put in an f1.8 zoom? Heck, if you're gonna launch a system, also in the F50 f1.8, just make it f1.2 or even f1.4. Same with the 35 millimeter. Number 3, the short-sightedness of Nikon's development team, or even you can even say management or even marketing. As I said, if you are going to make your mirrorless be the flagship, this is your flagship mirrorless, please go all out. Stop doing or designing that is good enough for the market. No, that is very short-sighted. No wonder Nikon and Canon's mirrorless attempt are crap. Even Fuji did it better, and Fuji came in late in the mirrorless market. So number 4, which is probably my last rant, is the price. I don't think the price of this camera is worth it on the Z6 at $2,000. I do think the Z6 is probably $1,200. The Z7 is not even, it should probably $1,500. Heck, you can even make it $2,000. And the hardest part about it is that how can you justify it when Sony's offering is better? Oh, you know what? I have one more rant, which is the 5th rant. Why is there the flip screen not fully articulated? It's only tilt. Think about it. If you're gonna bring a camera which has video functions, can't you just add a fully articulated screen? I mean, people would love to use it as a self-blogging or even a self-video camera. Now suddenly you lost that option. You basically took a lot of the market share of people who love to record themselves out of the equation and potential profits. But that goes back to Nikon short-sightedness. So look, I'm not a Nikon user. I'm using Micro Four Thirds. I do know a lot of Nikon users. They are very loyal. It's been a half a decade since they did something new, and this is it, the Z6 and the Z7. Look, I'm sure that the Z6 and the Z7 have something going for it. You know, I may not like it, somebody may like it. That's fine. That's their money. I don't have a problem with that. But my problem with this is just that where is the foresight? Where is the research? Where is the absolutely developing research and marketing? Did they not do any type of discussion here? So, if you think that, I mean, if you are willing to defend the Z6 and the Z7, hey, let me know down in the comments below. And so, that is basically my thoughts, analysis, and rant of the Nikon Z6 and Z7. Bye-bye.